Hi, my name is Scott Craich. I'm one of the product managers here at FirstWatch. Today we're going to be going over a real quick overview of Resource Planner, the web-based version of Resource Planner, I should say, and how to get started with that if you already have QDP files and all of your settings from the previous version of Resource Planner. Just as a side note, I will be creating a video in the future for setting up Resource Planner from scratch if you don't have the files necessary or that we're going to be using today from the previous version. So let's get started. So you'll notice at the top application ribbon, you'll now see Resource Planner. If you go ahead and click that, it will open up the new Resource Planner for you. And you'll notice that there's really nothing in here other than a little note here that you need to create a new plan or build. So let's go ahead and do that. To do that, we're going to go to the very top right here where we have the three horizontal bars menu icon. So if you click on that and then click New and then select Plan, you'll be given an option to save the plan name, or you need to give it a name before we can continue on further. So I'm going to say that this is Scott's Super Duper Ambulance Company, and we'll say okay. So now that we have our build created, we're going to go in and we're going to import our QDP file. So this is what I was talking about at the beginning of the video, where you would need to have this video in order to follow along, or what this video is intended for. So I'm going to point it here to my lots of shift types single zone QDP file. This is the output file from the previous version of Resource Planner, the Windows-based standalone application. So I'm going to select that one and click Open. And because I can select multiple files in there, it is a multiple select. So if you have many QDP files that you want to import into the same plan, you can do that. But now we have to tell it which one we want to use. So I'm going to now go to this hamburger icon again, click Open, and I'm going to choose my lots of shift types single zone, and I'm going to say Open. Now we have that one used, and I can double check that by going to this deployment tab here and seeing that all of the shifts that I've created here are included. So I can see my 8-hour, 10-hour, 12-hour, etc. So the next thing that we're going to do is paste in our target staffing data. And to do that, we are going to go to our demand analysis spreadsheet. So you can see here I have my Scott's Super Duper Ambulance Company spreadsheet. So let's go ahead and open that up in Excel. All right, now that that's opened up, we're going to go to our Resource Planner tab. And we're going to say Copy Data. And that will copy all of this data out that we're looking for so that we can paste it into Resource Planner. So now all I have to do here is click on Paste Data, and it's pasted in. Since we've already made sure that our deployment, all of our scheduled shifts are here, all we need to do now is just go into Build Plan, and it will create a schedule for us based on the data that we just pasted in. So here is the target schedule that it's looking for. So there are a couple of new features with Resource Planner that I'm really excited to tell you about. The first one you can see here is we've put data up front and center pretty literally here. So I can see my maximum coverage, minimum coverage, simultaneous starts and ends, and any deficits. You no longer need to go expanding tree views for each one of these to see that data. Also, the cost, unit hours, and FTE that used to be at the very bottom right of the screen is also front and center. Another one of the cool features that we have is when you make a change, you have the ability to do a side-by-side comparison. So let's take a look at that real quick. Here you can see unit hours is set at 2304. Let's just say our budget is a hard limit of 2300. I can't even go over 4 hours. So what I can do is go into my other parameters, high priority criteria, highest priority. I'm now going to change it from coverage to cost. And since we're interested in changing the unit hours, I'm going to say my measure of cost is shift unit hours. And I'm going to set that at my limit, which we said was 2300. Now all I have to do is just go through and rebuild the plan. And you can see now my unit hours are definitely below 2300. They're at 2264. So what I was talking about before is if I wanted to do a side-by-side comparison, I can go over here to Build Manager, and I can now see side by side the different values between the cost, the number of FTEs, the number of unit hours, maximum vehicles, etc. between these two. So this is where I first created it. This is where I opened up the QDP files. So if I don't want to show those anymore, since those are all zeros, I can click on the X here at the top. And now I can just do a side-by-side of the two that I'm interested in, the two runs, the one where it was unrestricted and then the one where I restricted it to 2,300 unit hours. And if you decide later that you want to return some of the ones that you've clicked the X for, we have a little icon here that you can click on, and it will bring it back if you do want to include those in your side-by-side comparisons again. One of the other cool features that I really like is the analytics dashboard. Again, this is just real easy to see what's going on with your system. So you can see the total deficit that you went over, or violation if you would prefer to use that word, the total deficit that you were under for your minimum coverage, any simultaneous starts or end violations, etc. Something else that I think is pretty cool with the new web-based version of Resource Planner is this report section. So I can see here my deployment summary. I can see how many of each type of shift is used, how many FTEs that equals, how many unit hours that equals, and then the total cost, which right now I have it set at $1 per shift. That's just how I have mine set. You can also see the shift list. You can see the performance summary, the deployment parameters for each different type of shift, all of these settings that you have currently set up for it. The target staffing levels, this is what we pasted in at the very beginning from demand analysis. And then our coverage level, how many unit hours the schedule that it's proposing calls for. So the 0-100 hour on Sunday, it's calling for a coverage of 11 unit hours. So one of the cool features also that is available is if you were to move a shift over, let's say this one here is currently scheduled to start at 6 o'clock on Monday, but I want it to start at 6:30 for this one particular shift. So I can click it and I can drag it over to 6:30. And you'll notice up above, there's a purple line now showing. The purple line is showing the new schedule, or the new scheduled hours, versus the blue line that is the existing schedule hours. If I unclick that or let my finger up off of the left click button, it will let me know that the shift date was successful, and the purple line goes away. All right, so what happens if I try to slide this shift outside of the restrictions that I have set up? So right now I have said that the start time for a single day cannot be more than 2 hours. So let's see what happens if I try to slide that more than 2 hours. I'm going to drag it way over here. And you'll notice that my border now turns red, letting me know that that is not allowed. So if I let go of that, it will actually let me know that the weekly start time variation has been exceeded, and it brings the schedule back to where it was before. So it now tells you why it won't let you slide a shift, which I think is pretty neat, because before it was basically just a guessing game as to why it wouldn't allow you to do that. So those are some of the new features that we have with the new Resource Planner. As always, please let us know if you experience any issues or if you have any questions at all. The best way to get a hold of us is product@firstwatch.net. So thank you very much for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you real soon.